message coming in for you today is that if there is any fear in your reality, know that it's actually a signal you're on the edge of a major growth spurt, major breakthrough. Something is coming. And today, Spirit wants to reframe fear, actually, false evidence appearing as real. They want to dive into the metaphysics of what fear really is. And what fear really is narrowing our perspective. Most of us that come through here, we subscribe to fear, worry, anxiety. And what my guides are saying is that when we do subscribe to those things, what we're actually doing on the quantum level is we're selecting that orientation and we're literally building quantum bridges to those realities. Now, some of you who are into shadow work, such as myself, might be saying, but I need to go into those kinds of realities and face all those things. And Spirit's like, absolutely. Like, you need to like bring all those things to the surface, but it's really important for those of you who are not aware of this. Of course, if you're already doing it, take this as your confirmation. You're badass and you're on your badass journey. And then some of us, we are just needing a little nudging here, and Spirit saying, yes, when you face your fears and those parts of yourself that are afraid, you come in with the wisest part of yourself, the most loving, nurturing part of yourself, and you re-educate the self. And some of that re-education might include the following: that there's everything available in the reflection. Infinity is available in the reflection. Of course, as humans, we have a little bit more of a narrow ability to perceive what is in the reflection, right? Based on our camouflage suits, we're in this camouflage system. That's some Seth material lingo for those of you who found that curious. If you know, you know. So they're saying that fear is basically closing you off to the other realities. So consciousness, the more expansive our mind is, the more expansive our heart is, they're saying the more we are able to perceive. So actually, those of us who have ESP, extrasensory perception, different kinds of gifts, we have different kinds of experiences. Maybe we don't talk about it, but we have those kinds of experiences. It's actually normal. It's because the less programming or limited definitions and beliefs or ideas that you're holding, the more you are able to perceive. So fear is really just limiting again, it's not our fault, it's not to our credit, but once you become aware, you can choose differently. And that's all that they're saying. They're saying that when we subscribe to anything, fear, worry, anxiety, you're closing yourself off from the greater reality. And then on some level, there's a self-doubt that you can't handle what might come your way. So they're saying on two levels. One is understand everything is in the reflection. Your focus is a choice. You look at the whole enchilada, you can scan it in a minute once you get good at this stuff, and then you select the version of reality that is, I get what I need to thrive, life is happening for me, things are working out in my favor, and then you literally select those realities that are bridging to those versions of events and timelines that are a reflection of this new I am, this version of you that you are. So they're really giving us a pretty strong reason. Of course, we have to continue to practice that thought with ourselves. I share this with clients, there's three ways to really create here and to shift within the self. One is to have a powerful emotional experience, right? The second one would be through repetition. Like water doesn't look stronger than rock. It doesn't look like it can mold rock, but through repetition, if a drop continues to fall in the same place, it will mold rock. And so that's very much how our programming is. But by continuing to talk to ourselves, Spirit saying like this makes us Gyan yogis. That's a little bit of an Eastern philosophy kind of term, Eastern worldview term. Gyani means knowledge, or basically knowledge. I think even in Sanskrit, I think that's what it actually comes from. So a Gyani yogi means we're knowledge yogis, meaning like through enlightenment, then we embody. And they're saying that if we continue to understand like metaphysics from this perspective, like of course, take what resonates, you can understand actually there's really nothing to fear, first of all, because on the deepest level, this is, they're all masks. There's nothing really. Behind all of it is a very loving, foundational reality. It's just this is the illusory realm of contrast and duality that is on top, and we're all playing characters to have this merry-go-round, so to speak. So the other thing they're asking me to loop back around on is if you choose by choice that things are working out for you, an empowered state of mind via the observer effect or the double-slit experiment on the same exact logic or rationale, you are literally choosing realities that are likely to work out in your favor. But on a token, not every reality, not every outcome is going to go your way. It's very much like in a sports game or a sports match. the athletes intend to win overall, but they're not, intrinsically expecting to win every single pass, right? It's like expecting to win the lottery every time you play. If you play, you figure eventually it's going to work out, and if you keep showing up with consistency, it's going to. And so they're saying it's very much like that. You're choosing those realities, but sure, you're going to get a smorgasbord of stuff. It's kind of a moving carousel of a co-created reality, and you're just increasing the percentage of getting reflections that are in line with what you want, because you're choosing that state of being first, so you can get that reflection that further perpetuates the evidence that this is who you are, because that's what this reality is about. It's kind of like we come for an experience, and the byproduct of the experience is increasing our potency by increasing our sovereignty and our focus and our co-creative abilities, in the way it's like major resistance training down here on Earth. So the second thing they wanted me to loop back around on was, and this has to do with shadow work a little bit. I mean, it's one way to frame it, where choosing the reality where you got this. Like, even if things aren't going to go your way, and even if things get gnarly, like, welcome to planet Earth. I don't know about you guys, but I have been through it. But eventually I figured out, if I go in with an empowered attitude, I got this. Anything that's thrown my way, I always get through it. Eventually I get through it, and I can do that with more grace, or I can do it kicking and screaming. They're basically like, look, that's also part of the training. It's not meant to always go your way. Eventually it will, but you can't see the twists and turns, and that's part of creating like flexible self-sovereign masters. So that's the message for today. Fear is actually a signal of change, because once you realize that you have this fear, it just is bringing it to the surface. It's really creating a spotlight of, there must be something, some idea or some belief that we are subscribing to that is allowing us to feel the life source, life force, shout out to Star Wars, right? That is moving through all beings. It's the same energy moving through all of us. It is only our psychic parameters and our ideas. Our psychic parameters are made of our ideas, our hardened ideas, that allow us to experience anything as fear as opposed to excitement. I love this metaphor, this example. It was given by Bashar originally. That's where I first heard it. And it was like, it really tracked with my own experience, because I had a really profound mystical experience where I experienced the source energy, the ocean, moving through all things all at once. And I literally felt the source energy moving through me. And I was the same source as everyone else. It's just that when it filtered through these psychic parameters, which obviously I experience as the most crystallized form of this body, but I could feel in that experience how it was all based on my own psychic parameters. And that is how I experienced the life force moving through me. If I had ideas that were limiting, I experienced that energy as fear. If I had really open, benevolent ideas about existence and whatever, I didn't have any anxiety about it, right? I'm just trying to create like an example of that. It wasn't at all cognitive like that. It was like an experience of deep immersion, knowing, and experience. But that's basically the message today. If you enjoyed this message, please share your beautiful energy, like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you are interested in coaching, Akashic record readings, or mind-blowing visionary art, you'll find that information in the description box. Thank you so much for joining us on the Vibrational Sciences channel. We're exploring metaphysics, manifesting mysticism, and exploring the nature of reality. See you in the next message.